brand new, and then we'll take it higher.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional home to the Game Sports Show, Canadian franchise Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, located on 601 Great Northern Road, Sault Ste. Marie. Come in and join Boston Pizza for its numerous specials that are offered. After 9 p.m. daily, come in to Boston Pizza for $9 schooners, $4 rail drinks, and delicious food. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, you're among friends.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Game Sports Show. It's yours truly, David McCaig, here live February the 22nd at Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, where you're among friends at Boston Pizza, and it's quite the lively atmosphere here, as always, at Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, as it is after 9 p.m., so you know what that means. It's their daily specials, and it's the $9 schooners for the Molson Coors products. We got the $4 bar rails, and we have the half price off appetizers, so you better come on down to Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, where you can enjoy some great food, great deals, and some great Molson products on tap as well. As I mentioned, it's Dave McCaig here, currently riding solo here at Boston Pizza, as we do hope that Justin Heichel can make it on by here tonight, as Dane Hantro is on a sick day today. And as I mentioned, Justin, we do expect to come on by, but if we do not hear from Justin tonight, you do have me tonight anyways. And we do not have any guests coming on by this week, as we do have a little bit of an agenda changes with the show for the next 2 weeks only, though, obviously. As you know, we do have the agenda locked in and packed for the entire 2018 year. However, we do have the next 2 weeks are being a little bit altered, so I'm going to get to that momentarily. I want to give a special shout out to Scott Nason, our board operator as always tonight, and to Aaron Grisdak and to Mitch Wilson, the great host here at Boston Pizza, as always, to the Game Sports Show. And I want to give a special shout out to our additional sponsors here on the Game Sports Show as well. Obviously, one of the homes, Boston Pizza, here on Thursdays. We also have additional sponsors here in Sault Ste. Marie. We have Sports Center Bar and Grill, the Sioux's Best Sports Bar, where it was rated the Sioux's Best Sports Bar for the second year in a row, where we record on Wednesdays. We also have North Shore Sports and Auto, the Salon, Discover the Canvas, and the Soo Pee Wee Pro Shop here in Sault Ste. Marie as sponsors to the Game Sports Show. And over in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, we have the Wicked Sister, where we record our show Mondays from 6 till 8 p.m. And that's the Wicked Sister, where it's always great atmosphere and always great service as well from the great famous waiter Scotty, who was rated the best waiter in the UP. And we also have the Pingator Cleaners as a sponsor in Sioux, Michigan as well. And as I mentioned, our agenda for the Game Sports Show, we are Mondays live at the Wicked Sister from 6 p.m. till 7 p.m. on Eagle 95.1. And then we pre-record for the second hour from 7 till 8. And I'm going to get to the Podbean page and the YouTube channel and the website in just momentarily. On Mondays, you have myself, Scott Nason, recording the first hour live with local guests and many other special guests. Where in the second hour, you have myself, Scott Nason, along with Butch Davis and EJ Russell. On Wednesdays at 9:30 until 11, we are at Sports Center Bar and Grill, where it's myself, Jamie Antonello, Justin Heichel, Dean Hancho, and Dustin Grondin, along with other special guests as well, where we talk the famous In the Pocket segment, where we're currently in the off-season for, however. So in that, we have special off-season editions of In the Pocket, obviously, but where we also talk basketball, we talk golf, we talk WWE. We even now have implemented the round table segment on the Sports Center Bar and Grill show, and that is where things get heated and get really exciting for when the panel talks all random sport topics. And just yesterday, where myself and Jamie talked about Tom Brady face Joe Montana, which one would you rather have, along with other random sports topics. So on Wednesdays, we've implemented the round table there, and we're there from 9:30 till 11 Wednesdays on their 75-cent wing night. Thursdays, where we are obviously live at Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, where it's myself, Justin Heichel, and Dane Hantro talking local and professional hockey, also local and professional baseball. Now, where can you hear these shows? Remind you every week that we are on various pages where you can hear the show. The Game Sports Show .podbean.com. Again, that's the gamesportshow.podbean.com. And that's where you simply can access that through Facebook or download the free app on the App Store or the Play Store. Just takes seconds where you download the app and you have the Game Sports Show podcast right at your fingertips, along with many other podcasts as well. But you can simply just type in your email or follow us on the Podbean page, and you'll get updates to when the show is uploaded. You can also hear the show and observe the show on Scott Nason's YouTube channel, where we have all previous shows and where we update the current show, obviously, and for future shows. We also have the www.thegamesportshow.com website, where you can access the Monday show at the Wicked Sister, the Wednesday show at Sports Center Bar and Grill, and Thursday show here live at Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie. And now, to those agenda changes that I said for the next 2 weeks. For the next 2 Mondays, that's the 26th of February and March 5th, we do not have a show at the Wicked Sister. So please close attention to the agenda changes going into next week. We are only going to have one show next week, and that's February the 26th, Monday, and it's going to be a Boston Pizza edition show where we record usually on Thursdays, but we're moving it to Monday next week because of the NHL trade deadline and many news to get to and guests that we have lined up, including Brad Cocciamilio, Zach Torquato, and hopefully Greg Hartsburg as well, where they're going to be joining myself, Justin Heichel, and Dane Hancho talking trade deadline and all NHL news on Monday, February 26th. We will be here live at Boston Pizza from 8 p.m. until about 10 p.m., and that's Monday, February the 26th. There will be no Monday Wicked Sister show or live show on Eagle 95.1, and there will also be no Sports Center show on Wednesday either that week. There will only be one show next week, and that's the 26th here live at Boston Pizza at 8 p.m. The following week, where we are into March, already in March the 5th, we will have a show at Sports Center Bar and Grill, where will be myself, Jamie, Dustin, Dane, and Justin, and possible other guests, where we're going to be talking about basketball, golf, WWE, the roundtable segment, and maybe a little bit of off-season in the Pocket Talk incorporated with that roundtable show. We will be there around 8 p.m. It will be recording until 10 p.m., and that's Monday, March the 5th at Sports Center Bar and Grill, the Sports Center edition of the Game Sports Show, and we do not have a show at the Wicked Sister once again on March the 5th. We will be back here again March the 9th at Boston Pizza. That's Thursday, back to the regular day. So that will be at 9:30 p.m. until 11 p.m., where the usual suspects, myself, Justin, and Dane, will be. So again, that's March the 5th. No show at the Wicked Sister. We'll have a show at Sports Center Bar and Grill, substituting for that Monday, and then we'll be back here for the usual day, Thursday, at Boston Pizza, March the 8th, where we plan to have additional guests as well, where hopefully Greg Hartsburg will come by that week, if not next week, along with other special guests as well that we have planned. And we always have many great plans with the Game Sports Show involving local guests and professional sports figures, so you don't want to miss that. So again, next week we only have one show, February the 26th, here live at Boston Pizza. No show at the Wicked Sister or Sports Center. The following week, March the 5th, we will be at Sports Center Bar and Grill that is March the 5th again, and that'll be from 8 p.m. until 10 p.m. And then we'll be here Thursday, the 8th of March at Boston Pizza, the usual time, 9:30 until around 11. And then getting into the March the 12th week, we'll be back to the original schedule, where we'll be at the Wicked Sister and on 95.1 for Monday, March the 12th, 6 p.m. till 7, pre-recorded the second hour. Then on March the 14th at Sports Center Bar and Grill, followed by Thursday, March the 15th at Boston Pizza, getting back to our normal schedule, March the 12th. Hopefully you're able to follow all that. A lot of great stuff going on with the Game Sports Show. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to myself, Scott Nason, Dane Hancho, Justin Heichel, or any other members or analysts of the Game Sports Show. As you know, the next 2 weeks, a little bit of schedule changes because of some other schedule changes, but we'll be back to normal March the 12th. But make sure you keep it locked here, and make sure you follow the gamesportshow.podbean.com to get the notifications when a show is uploaded, or on the Scott Nason YouTube channel, or always keep track of the website, www.thegamesportshow.com, where you can listen to previous shows and when all shows are updated. Once again, it's Dave McCaig here at Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie. Still waiting on to see if Justin's going to come through the doors, or if it's just going to be me riding solo here tonight. And getting into the agenda of tonight's show. Tonight we are going to be talking about, well, of course I'm going to be bringing up the trivia question last week's winner. And the trivia question, I will say, we will not have a question until Monday. Until February the 26th, since we're doing a special edition show on Monday. We're going to be doing this week's question on Monday next week. And more stuff going on the show. Well, we got baseball chat on this introduction portion of the show, with a little bit of Blue Jays chat and a little bit of JT Martinez chat going to the Bo Sox, and the Donaldson issue with the Jays especially is what we're going to be jumping on into before we go to break. And when we come back, we're going to have a local hockey chat and Olympic chat where we talk about Thunderbirds, Beavers, Eagles, along with the Hounds, and a little bit of a hockey Olympic update with the women's gold medal game crushing defeat yesterday against the United States, and with the men's Olympic team as well, and other Olympic news before we take another break and coming back for part 3 of the show where we'll be talking about NHL and Leafs chat as well. They're leading into the deadline on Monday the 26th. So the trivia question. Last week, the question was how many HD TVs are in Boston Pizza Sault Ste. Marie, and we did have an answer. That answer is 13. And who answered that question? It was Angela Gervasi. What has Angela Gervasi won? Well, she's won a free large pizza here at Boston Pizza Sault Ste. Marie. She can come pick it up here from Mitch Wilson, from Lauren, from Aaron, from any of the great staff here at Boston Pizza. All you have to do, Angela, is come on in and state your name and the prize that you have won and where you heard the prize being announced, and of course you heard it on the Game Sports Show. So she has won a large pizza courtesy of Boston Pizza Sault Ste. Marie. Congratulations to Angela. We're going to be getting to the question next week, like I said, on February the 26th. So make sure you stay tuned to that so you yourself have a chance to win a great prize courtesy of Boston Pizza Sault Ste. Marie, where we have weekly trivia questions and weekly great prizes that we give out. Jumping into the show right now, into the sports part of the show, where we hopefully you understood all of the openers here with the agenda changes for the next couple weeks and the agenda going on with the show, and hopefully you know where to follow. Like I said, www.thegamesportshow.com is the website. Thegamesportshow.podbean.com is the podcast page to follow, where you can link through Facebook, and the Scott Nason channel on YouTube is where you can follow. So make sure you catch up with all previous shows and keep up to date with current shows. And jumping into today's show, we're going to jump right into the baseball chat. We're going to give you a little preview of the baseball chat and how intense is kind of going to be the topics with the Boston Pizza edition of the Game Sports Show. The Blue Jays are into this offseason with a lot of question marks and a lot of drama surfacing around the organization, especially towards Josh Donaldson, the star third baseman. Josh Donaldson, probably the best third baseman, arguably, in the Major League Baseball. And yes, a lot of people will give comparisons to maybe Manny Machado is the best in the league, but I'm still giving it to Josh Donaldson defensively and still being able with that pop in his bat. There's no player like Josh Donaldson, but we do have a great prospect coming up in Vladimir Guerrero Jr. with the Toronto Blue Jays. However, the Josh Donaldson drama is what we're going to jump into right now. And that drama is absolutely ludicrous. It is insane. How this guy is not signed and how he's not given a blank check is absolutely absurd. Rogers Media has gained so much profits from the Toronto Blue Jays in the past couple seasons. And Rogers Media has got to see that when they have a winning team, the Rogers Center sells out. That 50+ thousand seats are always taken throughout the season. Never mind just the playoffs. You have to pay this guy. You have to give this guy, if you want to win now, like the Blue Jays organization, Ross Atkins and Shapiro say that they want to win, you have to pay Josh Donaldson. You have to show that you care to the fans. If you want to go another direction where you want to rebuild, tell the fans that. Move Josh Donaldson then. Don't let him walk to free agency. You say you're going to let him walk to free agency and try to sign him? Are you kidding me? If you lose Josh Donaldson for nothing, even though we didn't get him for much, even though it only costed us Brett Lowry, I don't care. The talent that he has surfaced himself into, he has deserved a right to go to a team where they're going to win. And right now, there's a lot of question marks around the Blue Jays team if they are a winning team, which I'm going to get to just in a few moments. But Josh Donaldson, you're either going to go for it and you're going to sign this guy long-term to a contract that he wants, or you're moving him by the deadline and you're moving him for top-notch prospects to revamp that prospect pool that is currently a little bit depleted in the Blue Jays system. Not that much, though, because we do have Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero who are looking pretty solid, Rowdy Tellez, but it's still not the prospect pool that we could have had, and we gave up a lot of guys for Tulowitzki and Price and other previous trades. So if you're going to trade Josh Donaldson, you better move him by the deadline, and you better get something of high value for Josh Donaldson, or you better pay the man the money that he deserves, or he is going to walk at the deadline, and we're going to get him for nothing, which would be absolutely brutal for fans to have to go through. the Blue Jays in general now with spring training. Marcus Stroman, the drama surfacing around him with having over $600,000 difference is the only difference between arbitration and the Blue Jays. Are you kidding me? This is one of the best pitchers in the game still today, the most electrifying pitchers in the game. You got to pay this guy what he wanted to and lock him up long term. Him and Sanchez are the two pitchers that are the future of the Toronto Blue Jays. You know what? You made a good move bringing in Jamie Garcia to be the fifth starter in the rotation, moving Biagini to the bullpen. And the bullpen, what I'm going to get to in just a few moments here, a very depleted bullpen. You have to give Stroman what he wants. You sit Donaldson in the room, you sit Stroman in the room, and Sanchez. What do you guys want? What's your price? Here's the check. Sign it. That is all the Blue Jays should be doing. Focusing on being a successful organization for years to come, because it took almost 20 years for this team to get back to being contenders, and we had 2 strong years where we lost in the ALCS to the Kansas City Royals and the Cleveland Indians, and the reason why we lost to it was smart baseball and good bullpen pitching, where the bullpens was something that the Jays has not had in those couple years, but they've had pop, they've had home runs, they've had defense, they've had some great stars, but they haven't been able to close out in games or win those big games. And to win those big games are guys like Donaldson, and you have guys like Vladimir Guerrero coming up the ranks, but the guys now you have to sign and then bring them in to help the younger guys that are coming up in the organization as well, and then you can have a successful organization for years to come. Sign Donaldson, sign Stroman to what they want. That is absolute absurdity for sure, and it's ludicrous. It's brutal from what I am witnessing here from the Blue Jays organization for an offseason that was very mediocre at best. And speaking of that offseason, the bullpen help. There's a lot of options still available in free agency that I know the Jays are definitely going to tap themselves into. Biagini has moved over to the bullpen. Good move for the organization there. They have to sign at least 2, maybe 3 good arms to support Roberto Osuna. And, you have Biagini that I like. Tapera coming off a big season. I like what the Blue Jays can have in that 7th, 8th potential, but I feel like Tapera should be more of a 6th inning guy and Biagini should be more of a 7th inning guy, where you need to have that setup man, and you get 2 setup men to set up for Roberto Osuna. They still need to add to that bullpen that can maybe complement them to be a team that's a contender and contend for a wild card, as I'll be very surprised if this team can contend for the division. But baseball is a game about being smart. It's not all about hitting those home runs all the time and being big pop batters, but you got to play smart baseball, and maybe the Blue Jays are trying to build a team like that, but they still have a pretty dominant lineup, and we still have a great pitching staff. Hopefully we can round that up with a good bullpen additions before the season starts, and then the Blue Jays may be able to contend for a wild card spot or the playoffs. Other news, JT Martinez going to the Bull Sox. Of course, the Bull Sox are the Yankees stacking up against each other. As you know, the Yankees have Giancarlo Stanton, just in case everybody forgot, and JD Martinez going over to the Bull Sox. He'll definitely be getting into the DH role for the Red Sox. Defensively, when he plays out in the outfield, not that reliable, but the Bull Sox are getting a good bat at the helm, and if anyone ever doubts this signing for the Bull Sox, you are crazy. I would kill to have JD Martinez wearing a Blue Jay jersey right now in terms of where he can play in the outfield. Would I take him over Curtis Granderson? Absolutely, but obviously the price tag was better for Granderson and what the Blue Jays wanted to spend. Obviously, they have a hard time spending money this year in terms of getting these big names, do the Blue Jays, but the Red Sox do have no problem holding up their wallet and opening their wallet, and they certainly did with JT, giving him a pretty good contract, and he is now a Red Sox that we play against in an already tough division alongside the Orioles, Yankees, and the Red Sox. Where do I see the Blue Jays finishing? To really wrap up our first baseball talk, I see them being the second wildcard team. And who are they going to play? The Boston Red Sox. That's my prediction going into this season. Blue Jays will be a wild card team. I'm not going to give my prediction for after that game. What do you think the Blue Jays are going to do going into the season? Are they going to be better contenders than that? Are they even going to be contenders? I know people really doubt it. Look at the Angels, the additions they made, the Mariners, the additions that they made, and the Houston Astros being the Houston Astros. And don't even watch out for those Oakland Athletics. That team's going to be a pretty good team. And we obviously got the Cleveland Indians. Very big AL, a lot of good teams in there. I just feel with this batting order, if the Blue Jays pitching can be as good as it should be, and if they add some good arms to the bullpen, as the rumors are stating, I think the Blue Jays can squeak into that wild card spot. But I would not be surprised if they were no more than a wild card team, and I would not be surprised if they did not even make the playoffs, as I rate their offseason as a D+. We're going to take a quick break here on the Game Sports Show. It's yours truly, David McCaig, here live at Boston Pizza. We had this first segment where you had the trivia question. Congratulations again to Angela Javassi winning a large pizza here at Boston Pizza. We're going to have next week's trivia question on Monday. So it's going to be this week's trivia question next week on Monday the 26th on the special edition show of Boston Pizza on Trade Deadline Day. We're going to take a break and hear from our sponsors. When we come back, we hope that Justin Heichel comes on by Boston Pizza. If not, be yours truly talking local hockey chat and Olympic chat. You're listening to the Game Sports Show. Be right back after a word from our sponsors.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional home to the Game Sports Show, Canadian franchise Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, located on 601 Great Northern Road, Sault Ste. Marie. Come in and join Boston Pizza for its numerous specials that are offered. After 9 p.m. daily, come in to Boston Pizza for $9 schooners, $4 rail drinks, and delicious food. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, you're among friends.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank a list of additional sponsors. North Shore Sports and Auto, new location located on 647 McDonald Avenue, Sault Ste. Marie. A family-owned and operated business with doing business in Sault Ste. Marie for over 10 years. Loads of products available for your enjoyment for all seasons. North Shore Sports and Auto, we understand the importance of quality service and products, and we work hard to ensure that all customers have a positive experience before and after each and every sale. North Shore Sports and Auto, meeting all of your new and pre-owned equipment needs. Special thanks to Salon. The Salon, located on 589 2nd Line East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Mike Cuglietta. Book your appointment today at 705-941-9191 or via online at https://thesalonsoo.as.me-. The Salon, making the Soo beautiful, one haircut at a time. As well as a shout out to the Soo Pee Wee Pro Shop. The Soo Pee Wee Pro Shop, located inside the Community First Credit Union Soo Pee Wee Arena on 285 Northern Avenue East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Jeremy Paquin and ran by Larry Monroe. Soo Pee Wee Pro Shop for over 40 years meet all of your skate sharpening, skate repair, and hockey needs. Also to Discover the Canvas. Discover the Canvas, located on 317 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. A beautiful new renovated building owned and operated by expert artist and Sioux native Katrina Thibodeau. Katrina taking her talents of the ink in Sault Ste. Marie and truly creating the best and most realistic art locally. Call Katrina today at 705-450-8099 or email her at discoverthecanvas@gmail.com to book your tattoo or consultation today.
Hi, this is Paul Maurice from the Winnipeg Jets, and you're listening to the Game Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. It's yours truly, David McCaig. Still here, Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, where you can be in this great, lively atmosphere where you are among friends at Boston Pizza. Come on down. It's after 9 p.m. They have your $9 schooners for Molson and Coors products, the Molson Canadian Coors Lights. It's a great price. They have the $4 bar rails and the 50% off appetizers. Still currently riding solo, as it seems like that is going to be the case for the entirety of this show, as Dane has taken a sick day and Justin Heichel has still not come through the doors here at Boston Pizza. So you are going to be hearing through the rest of the show with just yours truly, which is a great thing as well, as I have much criteria and much opinions to get to you. So to dive right on in, we're going to jump into local sports quickly here for the second part of this segment here on the Game Sports Show. The Soo Thunderbirds, the Blind River Beavers, and the Soo Eagles are in the midst of a very tight race right now going into the playoffs very soon, which are just around the corner. The Soo Thunderbirds, 32-14-2-1 for 67 points, right behind the Rayside Balfour Canadians, whom have 70 points. The Blind River Beavers, though, 32-17-2 for 66 points. 2 games in hand extra on the Birds, however, but they're 1 point behind the Soo Thunderbirds. And the Soo Eagles, 30-19-0-1 for 61 points, and with a big 5-0 win over the Rayside Balfour Canadians Wednesday night. What a big win that was for the Soo Michigan Eagles, getting a big 5-0 win against the first place team in the West, obviously showing that the talent is quite equal in that West Division in the NOJHL. Always a very tight division, it has been this year. Definitely the best and most competitive season that it has been for the NOJHL, in my current opinion. The Blind River Beavers are playing the Soo this Friday at 7:30 at the John Rose Community Center, as the Soo Thunderbirds are going over to Blind River Saturday night at 7:30. So Sault Ste. Marie Thunderbird fans, NOJHL fans, get out to the John Rhodes and also get down to the Blind River Community Center to watch two great teams, the second and third place teams in the Western Division, battle at it to try to move back up to the division as the Thunderbirds try to get back into first place in the Western Division, and as the Blind River Beavers try to surpass the Soo Thunderbirds for second and get into second place in the West Division. Some great competitive hockey there with the Soo Thunderbirds and Blind River Beavers. Definitely games you do not want to miss. Two talented and hard-working and very fast hockey clubs. The Soo Eagles are home to Espanola Friday at the Polar Stadium at 7:30, and they're in Espanola Saturday at 7:30. So those individuals in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, those loyal listeners we have on the Game Sports Show, get to the Polar Stadium and get to that huge and lively atmosphere at Polar Stadium in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Enjoy those polar burgers, enjoy some of those polar beverages as well, and watch the Soo Eagles host Espanola. Definitely some great action, and it continues into Sunday and Monday as well, as the Soo Thunderbirds play Sunday in French River at 6 p.m. and Monday the Soo Eagles are in Blind River at 7 p.m. as well. Some great hockey lays ahead for the NOJHL and some big implications leading into the West Division standings and for the playoffs around the corner to get your placements in the division, as it's getting very, very tight. With the NOJHL, some opinions I want to throw out there with the Soo Eagles, the Soo Thunderbirds, and Blind River Beavers. Definitely have had some great shows this year between the two teams against each other and against other teams. Some great talent on that ice. Some things I want to bring to the table here for even yourself, the listeners, to give your opinions back. The talent. It's much different talent than what it used to be in the previous years. It's fast hockey. It's not as much contact. There's minimal to none fighting in the NOJHL as it compares to previous years. But these teams, the Thunderbirds, the Eagles, the Beavers, are so equal in talent, it seems, and with Rayside as well looking very fantastic. Where do you think the teams are going to fall? Who do you think is the team to watch out for? I know these three teams, the Thunderbirds, Beavers, and Eagles, are teams to watch out for, and also Rayside, but Elliott Lake, got to watch out for those Cats. They are looking absolutely great right now. I would not want to play that team in the first round. I would try my best to try to avoid playing that team. However, you know, it might not be avoidable for sure, as the way that division's going. You're going to have to play hard games in each series and earn your keep to get on to the next round, as no round is a certainty for teams to get past, especially between Rayside, the Thunderbirds, Beavers, and Eagles. What do you think of that, and what do you think is going to happen in the NOJHL getting down to the final few weeks of the season, and just around the corner, the playoffs? Where do you see everything lying? I'd be very curious to hear what you think, my fellow NOJHL fans. Moving on to the OHL, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Previous games, let me jump into that. Last weekend, absolutely shellacking Hamilton. The Bulldogs losing 10-0 to the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds here at the SR Center in Sault Ste. Marie, and let's just say, much to the dismay of the Hamilton Bulldogs coach, not being too proud of what the Hamilton, his team, did against the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, sure, in the loss, but he was not proud of how the Soo Greyhounds didn't let their foot off the gas. And as heard on Monday's version of the Game Sports Show, The Wicked Sister, myself, Scott Nason, and EJ Russell and Butch Davis talking about how the foot was on the pedal the entire game and how upset the Hamilton coach was. This is hockey. This is junior level hockey. These players are not wired to stop playing. They're playing for that shutout. They're playing for that big win, and they're playing to prove a point. You cannot let your foot off the gas. It's natural talent. The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds went out to play a game. They played from the beginning of the game until the end, and they play that game hard, and that's what we expect, especially as paying customers sitting in the seats at the SR Center and even viewing on Shaw TV or on Sportsnet, if on Sportsnet. Hamilton's coach got to take a step back and realize that any team would continue the play that the Hounds did for that game. The Hounds did well in that game, obviously winning 10-0 against the team that's right behind them in the standings in the OHL. Well, sort of right behind them. Not right behind them, but behind them is a better way to put it, in second place in the OHL, and they absolutely put a shellacking on them. But I wouldn't expect that to be an often occurrence for the Hounds over Hamilton, as Hamilton is a very good team, but the Hounds have proved how they are the superior team, and kudos to them for getting that big win. And it led over to Sarnia's game when they won 7-1. 17 goals this weekend, only one goal against. Sarnia, another team that's chasing Hamilton third place, and another team that's behind the Hounds in the standings in the OHL, but definitely a team that's competitive in the OHL, were just shellacked by the Hounds this previous weekend. And kudos to the Hounds. Great showings, and definitely good entertainment for Sault Ste. Marie community and gives us much to talk about. And the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds should not need to let off the gas. The Hound team should continue to keep doing what they're doing and keep building and use games to score goals, to play games hard until the final buzzer, and to show the fans that we are for real and we are going to live up to our expectations to do whatever it takes to get to the finals, to the Memorial Cup, and take home that Memorial Cup is the first time since 1993. Upcoming games for Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. They play Windsor at 7:05 on Saturday, and they play Sunday in London at 2 p.m. They are on the road this weekend, and then next weekend they are on the road in Saginaw at 7:05 p.m. So make sure you tune into those games via online or through the Hounds website or through the radio station where the Hounds air their games to be in touch with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds to keep in touch with the games that are happening on these next 3 games. As the season is almost winding down, it's just around the corner. We got a good number of games left. However, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds are still in a tight race, and they are 47-6-2-2 on the season and looking to stay hot going into this weekend. And what a miraculous record that is, being 47-6-2-2. That is unbelievable. That is video game like. That is unbelievable. The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds should be proud of where they are, and they should continue to build and make sure they play every game hard. And despite having the talent that they have, they should not take any games lightly, as anything can happen in the game of hockey. But I can't see any teams beating the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds in 4 games. I cannot see it. The Hounds are too good. They're too deep. Up front, defense, goaltending even is a great talent as well. I just cannot see this team getting beaten in a 4-game series by any team in the Ontario Hockey League and even in the Western Hockey League or the Quebec Major Junior League as well. This is the team that is the best all-around team that I've seen in recent years, in my current opinion. Even though the team in recent years, with previous couple years ago when they had to play Connor McDavid, I still like this team a bit more in that team in terms of being all around. And watching Radish, Kachuk, and Frost play together, that is something rare. So make sure when the Hounds play here in Sault Ste. Marie, you get out there and enjoy this talent that the Hounds have provided. And I'm excited for the next few years what they bring, because they still have a lot of young guys in this team. And for the past few years, the Hounds have done very well. And I give kudos to the management. And a lot of this management success direction has started with Kyle Dubas before he went over to the Hounds. It's continued with Bannister, and it's continued in general with this organization. And right now, having Kachuk, Radish, and Frost, and having some good goaltending, and Sam Brook back there, and Connor Timmins back there on the back end, I'm confident that the Hounds can take it to the house this year to conclude the season. And good luck to the Hounds this upcoming weekend. Hopefully they can stay hot and improve to 50 wins on the season, with 3 big wins next week, especially with this weekend, Windsor and London Saturday and Sunday, as they plan to take it 1 game at a time and continue to stay hot. Moving on from the OHL, jumping into some Olympic action, some Olympic discussion here on the Game Sports Show. Yours truly, David McCaig, riding solo for the night here. Tough loss last night for the women's hockey team in a shootout. I'm going to say right now, the refs favored the women's team on the United States side in that first period, a little bit of the second period, but they did end up putting the whistles away. Basically, put the whistles away until overtime, when there was 1 penalty aside before they went to the shootout. And let me say, I don't have any excuses. Kudos to the U.S. team, because in overtime, they really showed that they were the team that was going to win that game. USA was better than Canada in that overtime. In that game, I think Canada was really hot and did very well until the third period, but ever since that 8-minute mark in that third period, in that 10 to 8 minute mark where Lamoureux scored for the United States, going into overtime, it was purely the United States from there on out. The United States dominated that game after that tying goal going into overtime. You just almost felt like it was just a matter of time for the streak of the women's hockey team to end. Or maybe you thought that Canada was just going to pull one out by playing the smart hockey. However, it did not come to pass, as for the first time since, it's been since 98, so it's been 20 years since the United States has won the Olympic gold, as Canada has won it since 2002 in Salt Lake. I guess it was time to let USA win. I am just kidding. USA deserved that win, as I stated, and it was a great game. However, as I stated, And Scott Nason will iterate on this. A lot of fans. It's unfortunate the game had to go into a shootout, but this is Olympic action, and it's been that way for quite some time. I wish it would have battled and went down to 4-on-4, 3-on-3. I'm hoping Olympics can change a lot of things, which is getting professional athletes back in for men's. But besides that point, maybe change the format a little bit to continue that overtime. I was loving that back and forth action. Mostly Sabados really shutting down the United States as the United States outshot Canada in the game, but the United States coming out on top with a big shootout winner, but the individual who got the game tying goal, Lamoureux, with a great move on Sabados, and a lot of great moves in that shootout in general. But that last one was a dagger in the heart into Canadian fans as USA walks away with the gold medal. And congratulations to the United States as Canada winning the silver medal is something that we weren't expecting. But hey, after winning since 2002, every year since, essentially 16 years, I guess it was almost a matter of time. Even though it would have been nice for a Canadian team to break the record for 5 straight medals, we're going to have to wait until the 2022 Olympics in Beijing for Canada to get back on top in the Canadian women hockey world. And I believe that they can do it with the talent that they have coming up the ranks in Canada. With the men's team now, focusing over to the men's team, they played actually Friday morning, tomorrow at 7:10 a.m. The game after, which is featuring Czech Republic against the Olympic athletes of Russia. That game will be at 2:10 in the morning, but at 7:10 you're going to have Canada against Germany in the other semifinals. Very intense matchups on both these semifinals. I give both Russia and Canada the edge. Believe it or not, even Russia over the Czech Republic, because someone named Pavel Datsyuk and Kovalchuk playing over on Russia. Just can't fathom seeing them not getting to the finals against Canada. Why not another Russia-Canada finals, right? I feel that Germany is going to give a very tough game as they did defeat Sweden. Sweden, a team that I did predict to actually be gold medalists. Can't count out Germany, but Germany is in the semifinals against Canada, and they are proved that they are worthy of being there, and very exciting to see what those games bring later on tonight or into tomorrow morning, may I say. And it's going to be tight semifinals, but I'm going to go on the edge here and say that's going to be Canada and Russia in the finals. And, well, who am I predicting is going to win? I still think men's Canadian hockey is going to end on top. So let's hope I'm correct. And when we're back here on Monday, February the 26th, for the Boston Pizza edition of the Game Sports Show, that we can discuss Canada winning at least a gold in the men's and give kudos to all sports around, especially since the Olympics have been fantastic with the Canadian athletes, which I'm going to jump into right now. Canada currently at this time of recording in second place with 26 medals, Norway in first, Germany in third. Canada has 10 gold medals, 8 silvers, and 8 bronze. That new silver being with Team Canada's women's team getting there for Canada, but having 26 medals, we should all be very proud of our nation and proud of the athletes that have worked very hard to achieve these accomplishments and put Canada second place in the medal standings. I know I'm very proud to be Canadian. I've been able to watch every single event live. I've had to do a lot of pre-recording and PVRing, but keep in touch with all these athletes. All of them are in shape. All of them are working hard. A lot of them have great stories to share, and a lot of them have left their footprint and their history with the Olympics and have truly made this entire nation proud. We should definitely clap for our athletes and clap for our country in general as we are second place in the medal standings. It's yours truly here, David McCaig, here at Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, solo for the night. I'm going to take a quick break, sip on these Molson products, enjoy some great food. And when we come back, it's going to be myself talking a little bit of NHL chat along with the Maple Leafs chat to lead up to the conclusion of our show here this evening. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional home to the Game Sports Show, Canadian franchise Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, located on 601 Great Northern Road, Sault Ste. Marie. Come in and join Boston Pizza for its numerous specials that are offered. After 9 p.m. daily, come in to Boston Pizza for $9 schooners, $4 rail drinks, and delicious food. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, you're among friends.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor, an additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sports Center Bar and Grill. Sports Center Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sports Center rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sports Center, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sports Center Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
Thank you for tuning in to the Game Sports Show. broadcasting Thursday nights from Boston Pizza in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and online at thegamesportshow.podbean.com. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast. Now, if you want to hear more of the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national talk show involving the world of sports, I encourage you to visit our website, thegamesportshow.com. There you can hear a couple other broadcasts of the Game Sports Show. Monday nights, we do the game from the Wicked Sister on Ashman Street in downtown Sault, Michigan, 6 to 7 o'clock on the radio. WUPN, Eagle 95.1 locally, or online at radioeaglesioux.com. Now, the full 2-hour show can be heard on the podcast page of the game at thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or you can go to our YouTube channel. Just look for Scott Nason. In that one, as yours truly, along with Dave McCaig and our weekly contributors, Butch Davis from the Telegram News and Butch on Sports, along with EJ Russell on the Team Wireless Hot Seat. We focus on local, regional, and national sports, including high school basketball and hockey, junior hockey, Laker athletics, and the Detroit sports scene. And Mr. Electric Avenue Dave McCaig also broadcasts a show on Wednesday night from Sports Center Bar and Grill in Sault, Ontario, along with his regular contributors Jamie Antonello, Justin Heichel, and Dane Hantro. They focus on football with their In the Pocket segment, talking about the NFL along with basketball and the NBA, and other sports including tennis, golf, soccer, and the WWE. Once again, you can hear all three versions of the game at our website, thegamesportshow.com, or our podcast page, thegamesportshow.podbean.com. You can also find us on YouTube. Just look for the Scott Nason channel. And thank you for listening, and keep it locked here to the game for all your local, regional, and national sports talk that you just can't get enough of.
Get wicked at the Wicked Sister. You'll find the best tasting food for the whole family. Start off with some appetizers like the crab dip, served with warm naan bread strips and soft pretzel bites, or their antibiotic and hormone-free boneless chicken wings with 5 choices of sauces. Entrees include the barbecue pulled pork sandwich, the #1 selling drunken cow burger, or Philly cheesesteaks, and they're on special all day Thursdays. The Wicked Sister also offers a gluten-free menu and catering. Bring the whole family. The Wicked Sister, downtown Ashman Street, open 7 days a week.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. It's yours truly, David McCaig. It's been me for the night here live at Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, where it's after 9 p.m. It's their $9 schooner special for the Molson Canadian Coors Light products, $9 schooners. What a great price and such a big, delicious beer, along with $4 bar rails and the 50% off appetizers. And this is after 9 p.m. daily here at Boston Pizza, where there's always great atmosphere, great food, and great time with friends where you are among friends. And, well, we've had quite the action-packed show thus far, even though it's just been yours truly. You know, that we've talked about, well, baseball, where we introduced a little bit of baseball into our Thursday show for basically the second time that it's been brought on the show, but we went more in depth than what we did in the previous week, getting into the spring training chat, where, as you know, here at Boston Pizza, it's the hockey and baseball edition of the Game Sports Show. And then we also talked about local sports, the Soo Thunderbirds, Beavers, and the Eagles, with the Soo Greyhounds as well we discussed. And we also talked about the Olympic game chat, and I would be ashamed if I didn't give a little bit of additional promotion here currently to start off this third segment with the Lake Superior State University Lakers playing some big games this weekend down in Ferris, playoff implication games, must-win games. And you know what, last week on the Game Sports Show we had Aiden Wright come on, and we're on Monday we had LSSU assistant coach, former pro hockey player Mike York come on. Both Aiden Wright, whom is the captain of Lake Superior State University, and the assistant coach Mike York have stated the importance, obviously, of this weekend and how the momentum is high in Lake Superior State University's locker room. And if you can get on down to Ferris to enjoy the game, jump in the car, drive down, bring friends, bring your girlfriend, bring your wife, bring your kid, do anything of such, bring anyone you want to go down and enjoy the biggest weekend of Lake Superior State University Lakers season. A team that was destined for playoffs this year has had a disappointing season, but is looking to make up for that for squeezing into the playoffs, and they can do it this weekend with games and wins over Ferris State. And I am pulling for you, Lake State, as I am confident that you guys will come home to Lake Superior State University and Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, with those two big W's this weekend getting into the playoffs. Moving on from that side, we're jumping into the NHL and Leafs chat here. I'm going to jump right into the NHL first before we talk about the Leafs, where you had to know with me, I'm going to be discussing with those Toronto Maple Leafs, but there's the trade deadline around the corner. And again, Monday, February the 26th, we have a show here at Boston Pizza around 8 p.m. It's going to be the only show next week for the Game Sports Show. So I'm going to give you a little bit of teasers and some points and a little bit of facts leading up to that show Monday, which is going to be an action-packed show with myself, Dane, Justin, and with Brad Cochamillo coming by along with guests. Trade deadline discussion. Well, where do I want to start? Look at the trades that have happened in the past few days. Mrazek going from the Detroit Red Wings over the Philadelphia Flyers. You knew the Flyers were going to make a move with Neuwirth going down and Elliott going down with injury. You knew they had to make a move, and they got a pretty affordable option with Mrazek and the Detroit Red Wings. Definitely a good move, I feel. Mrazek has been pretty hot for the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit Red Wings, a team that is going to be selling, something that they're not too used of in that land of Detroit. And I know there's individuals don't like that term of selling, but Detroit, if you want to call it selling, if you want to call it retooling, but they're definitely on the side of not contending. So they are making moves, and moving out Mrazek to the Philadelphia Flyers made sense. I'm sure they would rather move Jimmy Howard, but with that contract, I don't think the Philadelphia Flyers were taking that on, as they have some pretty high contracts on that team with a lot of young guys coming up. I'm sure they didn't want to take on a big contract. So Mrazek to the Philadelphia Flyers, great move for the Flyers as they move to contend and try to get up into the division and chase the Capitals and Penguins, as Voracek was quoting that they're not looking behind, they're looking ahead at those two teams. Big words from Jakub Voracek. Tobias Rieder going over to the Los Angeles Kings for goaltender Darcy Kempfer. And you know what? Let me be honest with you. The Arizona Coyotes bringing over a goalie in Kempier, and with the Los Angeles Kings bringing over a goaltender, or bringing over Tobias Rieder, gives them a little bit of depth scoring that they are looking to get. As you know, the Los Angeles Kings are in buying mode after getting Phaneuf earlier last week as well. So bringing in Rieder to the Kings fits the dynamic of that lower core in the bottom six. Kempfier goes over to the Arizona Coyotes, where he gets to play with Ranta, and the Arizona Coyotes giving those goaltenders who deserve a chance to maybe be a 1A option. And I think Kempier is an underrated goalie and is going to be a good fit over in Arizona. A good fit for both teams, but I'm going to give the edge to Rieder and to the Kings in this trade, as they're getting some much-needed depth, hopefully, as they make their playoff push. And you know what? The Kings are not a guaranteed spot. They're in a very tough division. Very tough division. So they are making the moves necessary to get into the playoffs. And I think Rieder does help. Doesn't put them over the top, but definitely a good trade for both sides. But I'm going to give the edge to the Los Angeles Kings. Other notes that I want to bring up. You know, there was a lot of trade rumors. I got to tell you guys as listeners out there, please be aware of the Twitter handles, the fake Twitters, the fake Facebook accounts, the fake things where you're hearing trades that might be happening. You could not believe the amount of trades that I've been seeing on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook, and on different pages about how a trade has happened. Today, especially the trades that I read with the Philadelphia Flyers and Montreal Canadiens flipping over Gallagher and Couturier, with Hart going over to the Montreal Canadiens, Couturier going over the Canadiens, with Buchanan and Victor Mete going over the Flyers. Just trades that you could not believe that I saw. Makes absolutely no sense. And another one, Erik Karlsson apparently was traded to the New York Islanders. Are you absolutely kidding me right now? These types of trades you got to watch and make sure you get the correct Twitter handles, the correct Instagram pages, and the correct outlets in terms of TV and web pages if you are to reference your trades, or if you're going to observe the trades, because those are trades that definitely would not happen. But there are names that are out there. Karlsson's name is out there in the world of trades, but he cannot be getting traded, could he? Well, let me give you a little bit of light on that fact. I can't see this trade happening. But it's obvious that Erik Karlsson and the Ottawa Senators are not going to be coming to a deal. And it's obvious that the Ottawa Senators do not have the funds to be able to pay Karlsson what they want. They are not spending money. They're not planning to spend money, are the Ottawa Senators. They are planning to make a move here, I feel. And if they do make a trade at the deadline, would I be shocked? No. I would not be shocked if Erik Karlsson gets traded. But I'd be absolutely crazy of the Ottawa Senators to trade Erik Karlsson unless they have a mammoth trade in place. And I feel that's not a trade that happens till the offseason, but they don't have that much time. So will it happen? No. Erik Karlsson, I feel, won't get traded. I feel like it's a risk they're going to take to attempt to re-sign him, as Erik Karlsson has expressed interest in remaining with the team, but it's just the Ottawa Senators whom have to open up their wallet and pay him what they want, whom arguably is one of, if not the best, defensemen in the National Hockey League. And speaking of defense, Ryan McDonagh, there's a guy that is potentially on the move who has been part of the Game Sports Show trade watch board, and teams have expressed interest are the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Toronto Maple Leafs, being a couple names I'm including into this deal, and definitely a trade that, is going to be a little bit more tough to make for teams, and they got to swallow, and the price is going to be absolutely absurd. I don't even want to think of this price for either team, for Tampa or for Toronto. I feel that with McDonagh, there's a contract that's locked up, a very affordable cap hit. Is a trade that does not happen at the deadline. I think it's more of an off-season thing, but if it does happen at the deadline, as per Darren Dreger, Bob McKenzie, and Elliot Friedman, a lot of guys have predicted that this trade is going to happen at the deadline. I'm not sure if there's already a trade in place. I just cannot see Ryan McDonagh getting moved at this trade deadline. I feel that's a trade that might happen in the off season, if it even happens. This is the captain of the team in a very affordable cap hit, but if he does get traded, wouldn't he look great in a Toronto Maple Leaf blue? He'd be the immediate best defenseman on the Toronto Maple Leafs. So he'd be the immediate top defenseman, even a little bit ahead of Morgan Riley, and it would be a trade that I would definitely do, but to give up Marner or Nylander in this trade would be a tough pill to swallow. Something that I did observe, which is going to lead me to my next guy, Rick Nash, someone we've talked about a couple weeks on our trade watch board. You got to watch out for Rick Nash because of where he could potentially go. There's a lot of teams that are looking out for Rick Nash. A lot of teams that would love to have the services of him. And one of his 12 teams that he submitted is the Toronto Maple Leafs. Could there be a potential deal where JVR is included in a trade in Toronto and sent over to the New York Rangers? Now, let me get this through to you, the listeners. JVR, I don't want traded. Toronto should not touch or move JVR. JVR should be used as an own rental, period, for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they will not trade him. So I'm going to say that right now. But if we're speaking hypotheticals here, because that's what we like to do on sports shows in general and here on the Game Sports Show, if the Leafs are to move JVR, they need to get somebody back of equal talent or of equal input. I'm not sure if Nash is the same talent that JVR has in this current state, as JVR is younger than Rick Nash, but he is putting up almost the same offensive output. Would it be crazy to potentially move JVR for McDonagh and Nash? Maybe throw in a first in there, maybe throw in Connor Brown, maybe throw in Kirby Reichel, maybe throw in Andrew Nielsen. Move out a couple prospects in that trade, and then maybe you got yourself a deal. And then the New York Rangers can sign JVR to a long-term deal. Because believe it or not, JVR grew up a New York Ranger fan. And I'm sure he would be well open to the idea if the Rangers are to open up their wallet. And if you move out Nash and McDonagh, it opens up a lot of cap space. The only guy who is an untouchable with the Rangers is Henrik Lundqvist. Maybe the Rangers be like, okay, we'll trade for JVR as long as he signs. They give JVR what he wants, which he is going to be a $6 million plus player. But will that happen? No. I say JVR stays put, and Toronto is going to attempt to use him as an own rental or sign him. But if this trade comes up where Toronto could bring in McDonagh and Nash, or you have McDonagh for a few years and maybe you talk a 1 year or 2 year extension with Rick Nash, maybe it's not a bad idea. But I'm not saying that's going to happen. But watch McDonagh to be moved, as I think it's a 40 to 60 chance, 60% not be, 40% certainty of him being moved. And I'm leaning towards 60 because that's a tough deal to move. Rick Nash, 100% certainty. Where do you think he'll go? You know what? There's a lot of fits for him on many different organizations where he could fit. And you know what? One of those fits is Boston. Another one of those fits is Tampa. One of those fits is Toronto. Another fit is New Jersey. Another fit is Philadelphia. Another fit is Vegas. Another fit is San Jose. There's a lot of fits for Rick Nash where he can slide in those top 6 situations. And it is a certainty that he will be moved. Mike Green, 100% certainty that he'll be moved. Toronto is also on this bait. And we're going to get to Toronto a little bit. I know I kind of went into a Toronto trade example there for Ryan McDonagh and Rick Nash. I didn't get into really a Tampa Bay trade scenario, but I'm saying what it's going to take to get him is a top player to get those type of players. Where Rick Nash would maybe only cost you a mid-level prospect and a couple picks, perhaps. Maybe. Not too sure. Maybe he does cost you a first and a mid-level prospect. But jumping over to Mike Green, as I mentioned, Mike Green, right shot defenseman, power play specialist. We said it last week on the show. It'd be great to welcome him in Toronto, as Toronto needs defense. But I think it'd be the best fit for him to go to the 22 best ranked power play in the league. The Las Vegas Golden Knights are looking to move up in the offensive side on the power play, as Colin Miller has been their most lethal guy offensively as a defenseman. I feel that Mike Green will put them over the top, and with their surplus of defense back there and prospects, Mike Green fitting in Las Vegas would be great, but you got to watch out for Tampa Bay being heavily aggressive on the Detroit Red Wing defender, and even the Washington Capitals, with Toronto finishing a 4th place in that bidding, in my opinion. But if he does go to one of 4 teams, it'll be a great fit all around. Mike Hoffman, where's he going to go? Another name that's been brought up to the board. Mike Hoffman, best fit in my opinion, the San Jose Sharks or the Edmonton Oilers. I feel the Edmonton Oilers can use a good scoring winger with a high shooting percentage that Mike Hoffman presents. Even though the Oilers are not buyers that does that at this deadline, they maybe revamp going into next year, move out some expiring contracts, bring in Mike Hoffman from the Senators, or if the Senators want to give Hoffman a chance to make a good little run at it, San Jose would be a great fit, who are looking for that extra shooting. You know what, maybe they haven't been really the same since Patrick Marleau has moved on to Toronto, obviously, as the Sharks did deal for Eric Fair in Toronto for a 7th round pick. But Mike Hoffman going to San Jose, it feels like that would be a great fit in general. So watch out for the Oilers and Sharks to be aggressive on that front. Teams are charging too much for players, it seems like, in general, with 1 year left on their deals. Is this referred to Rick Nash? Maybe. Does this refer to Hoffman? Maybe. Does this refer to McDonough and Carlson? It does not matter, because those are star-studded talent, and Carlson's one of, if not the best defensemen in the National Hockey League that we don't even want to jump into. Look at Goodbranson. Signed a deal with the Vancouver Canucks. You know, he's off the board. But are teams charging too much? Are teams really looking at certain players? Look at Evander Kane with the Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo's apparently asking price was absolutely insane. They even apparently asked 2 firsts and a top-level prospect and an NHL-ready player. Then I went down to a first NHL-ready player and a top prospect. That is steep for an individual who has been pegged as a cancer in the locker room. Evander Kane would be a fit on a team that's rebuilding of sorts, or a team that is contending. Not the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not the Tampa Bay Lightning. Would he fit in Vegas? I don't even want to say that. I feel like he would fit in Vancouver still. But for a team that's contending, I feel the best fit would potentially be with the Philadelphia Flyers or with the New Jersey Devils, who may be willing to give up a lot for him, but that is just a high price. I just feel like teams are charging too much, but might not make the deadline day as exciting as we feel. You might see a lot of bottom 6 players be getting moved, one of those players being Mark Letestu, that is available through trade. Luke Glendening from the Detroit Red Wings. A lot of these little trades to help get teams in their bottom 6 better, just like LA did with Tobias Reeder and the Arizona Coyotes. Where obviously the big names of Green, Hoffman, and Nash are certainties to move, but those are going to be the big fish of the day, with asterisks being beside McDonough. But these lower trades are going to be trades that we should definitely keep an eye on. But in general, teams are asking too much for players potentially. May have to bring down their asking price for players that have those 1 years left on their deals. But if you have a guy who has 2+ years left on his deal, and it's a talent like Ryan McDonough or a guy like Chris Tanev on the Vancouver Canucks, then maybe that's a type of price that you can ask for a lot more in the long run. So where do you think? Where do you think the asking prices should be for teams with 1 year contracts? Is there teams asking for too much, do you figure, based on what you have researched and can hear here on the Game Sports Show from our analysis and from other sports outlet shows? Are they asking too much? You know, the reported asking price always, when it gets in the media, might be a little bit different. My sources indicate that Kane's asking price is of such, and Ryan McDonough's asking price is extremely high, where it's a top-level prospect, a first-round pick, and an NHL-ready player. That's really steep. Where Rick Nash apparently is maybe on the first-round pick cusp, but I've heard a lot of rumors state that he's a second-round pick and a mid-level to high-level prospect. Even a second-round pick and a mid-level prospect may even get the deal done for Rick Nash. I got to say, this guy is worth a first-round pick, and even with the draft the way it is, I would give up a first for Rick Nash. In Toronto, though, I don't know about that. However, other names on the board, you know that there's teams that are shopping their guys, as I mentioned. Nick Chalmison, who I'm going to get to very shortly, who possibly might be on the Leafs radar. The Arizona Coyotes, there's potential moves. Even Max Domi apparently has been getting his name thrown out there by the Arizona Coyotes. A lot of potential names. What do you think? Where do you think names are going to end up? As you know, the top names on our board, you got McDonough, you got Nash, you got Green, you got Hoffman, you got Chris Tanev, you have Nicholas Chalmison, you have Mark Letestu, you have Jack Johnson. from the Columbus Blue Jackets. You have names up there that are on the board. Which one of these names and what other names that we've discussed or other names that you feel could be on the board, and if they are asking too much in general? Going to be a great deadline, and Monday's show, I cannot wait to really wrap up what the show is going to be. And at the conclusion of the show, instead of doing our famous multiple choice segment, we're going to be doing a Dave McCaig prediction segment, just a one-time only, where I'm going to predict some trades that are going to happen, and we're going to see if that happens. So we are back on February the 26th live here Monday at Boston Pizza. Moving on to the Leafs side of the chat on the Game Sports Show, Eric Fair was dealt to the San Jose Sharks, as we know, for a 7th-round pick. Shoshnikov going to the Blues for a 4th-round pick. The Leafs are moving out contracts to open up roster spots for potential deadline moves and to move out players and to gain assets for players that they are not utilizing in their lineup as they obviously should, with Eric Fair only playing a handful of games with the Toronto Maple Leafs since he's joined the team in the trade with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Shoshnikov being up and down and not fitting into the future plans of the Toronto Maple Leafs, moving on to the St. Louis Blues. Good moves. Excited to see where these moves lead to. Better getting something for something opposed to nothing. And the Leafs are going to be, I think, active at this deadline. I don't think they're going to be insanely busy where they're just going to make 5+ different trades, but I can see them almost making 5. I can see them making at least 3 trades where they attempt to acquire a bottom 6 forward and definitely a defenseman and maybe even 2 defensemen. Now, we've said on the Game Sports Show for the past year what the Maple Leafs have needed. Do they need a bottom 6 forward? I think they do need an upgrade over Dominic Moore. And I feel Dominic Moore could be the individual they can rotate in and out of the lineup. And I think looking at Luke Glendening, that's an upgrade from Dominic Moore, but that contract, he's got a pretty higher contract for a bottom guy. That utilizing him in that specific role, I feel that with the players coming up, I feel there could be other players. I feel like that money could be used elsewhere. However, Luke Glendening has a lot of familiarity with Mike Babcock, so you got to think that he's the front runner for the Leafs to grab in a lower bottom 6 forward trade. But there's other players out there. Mark Letestu, I think, could be used as a 4th line center. He's being utilized more of a 3rd line guy, bottom guy still on Edmonton, but there's a guy that could be used in all situations of the game. It would be a great fit, especially if he plays with Kasperi Kapanen. And also Nick Shore, who just got moved from LA to Ottawa. Why not look at him? Why not look at him to some 4th line help? He's young, he's fast, he's hard working, he's great on the defensive side of the zone. For a forward, why not consider bringing him in, as he would be an affordable option from the Ottawa Senators. Now, does Ottawa want to improve the Maple Leafs' chances? Well, this might be the time to capitalize on that, because Ottawa knows they are not moving up or making the playoffs at this current time. Why not look to make a move and gain an asset for a player that they could potentially have a young guy come up and be utilized for, where the Leafs can use this guy to be a bottom 6 guy for their playoff run. Which one of these players would I want to see in a Leaf jersey? Easy answer, Nick Shore. I think Nick Shore would be a great fit for the Maple Leafs in their bottom 6. Now, there are 2 defensemen that I predicted that they would potentially move. I still think they have their eye on Jack Johnson. I really think they do. I feel like he's going to be an individual that, a lot of the media give a lot of criticism to, but I feel like he's going to be affordable, and I feel like it's a trade that can be done with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maybe you move O'Connor Carrick in the 3rd for Jack Johnson, and then you have a defenseman that looks on the two-way side of the game and that can really solidify that 3rd pairing, and maybe even be an upgrade for Ron Hazy, to let Ron Hazy, whom is 36 years old, may I add, go down to the 3rd pairing and really just focus on playing the penalty kill and let Jack Johnson hopefully spread his wings a little bit under Mike Babcock. I feel like he can really improve, and I feel like he'd be extremely affordable. Another player to look at in this trade deadline, why not look at Jason Demers in Arizona? 28, he has a 4.5 hit though, but he's a great guy defensively. That could be an upgrade over the Roman Polaks of the world and the Connor Carricks of the world in Toronto. And even look at Nick Chalmelson on the Arizona Coyotes in general. I feel like those are 2 guys they could potentially look at. Now, are these moves at the deadline? I'm not too sure. I think those would be trades more so in the offseason, which leads me to my Ryan McDonagh, Mike Green. I don't think they're going to be able to make a move for Mike Green. To be totally honest, I feel like they're not going to pay that for Mike Green. I think it's going to be a little bit higher than what they want to pay, but I feel like they are going to look at Ryan McDonagh and kick tires aggressively with the New York Rangers to try to get in Ryan McDonagh. Now, are they going to get him? I'm not going to say that. If they get him this year, I'll be very surprised. I don't even want to know what the price would be of this, but I feel like the chance is out there. The player you should be looking at, though, as I mentioned, is Jack Johnson. The guys like Justin Folk that are in play And the guys that I mentioned earlier were Chalmers and Demers. Those are trades that you can look at later on. And Chris Tanev, a guy that I mentioned that Toronto could be looking at the deadline as well, but he is going to cost extremely high, apparently. They're looking at a first-round pick and a high-level prospect over in Vancouver for him. So a little bit steep for that price. So it seems like the realistic option getting in Jack Johnson would be the way to go in my current opinion. But if you can add a defenseman that is McDonough for a decent price, I just said decent price for McDonough. Who am I kidding? That's going to be so high. But a decent price for him, potentially for him and what his stature is, without paying too steep of a price. You can maybe go down that road. But definitely keep eye on Tanev, Demers, and Chalmerson. Where do I think they're going to go? I feel like they're just going to look at Jack Johnson. It's adding that bottom six forward and adding Jack Johnson to the squad are going to be the two moves that the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to move, and they are going to kick tires at McDonough and Rick Nash, and those are going to be the Leafs news that we are going to hear on trade deadline day. Nick Shore, Jack Johnson to the Leafs, what do you think? And the other names that I mentioned that they're going to be kicking tires at and potentially acquiring, what do you think of that? Unoka Brantz is off the table, would have been a perfect fit for a second defenseman maybe to get the deadline, but we know with him off the board, Toronto may look adding a second guy, but maybe not add too much because they don't want to mortgage too much, because guys like Demers, Chalmerson, and McDonough, maybe those are guys to look at in the offseason unless they feel like they won't be there in the offseason. And Lou Lamoriello, Kyle Dubas, and Mark Hunter, we trust. But like I said, Johnson and Nick Shore are the guys to watch out for. A little bit more Leafs. The Leafs coming off a big shootout win against the New York Islanders, as the Leafs are just rolling right now as they are moving up in the standings, hoping to try to keep up with the Boston Bruins and Tampa Bay Lightning. Big win by the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight against the New York Islanders. And the Leafs, a little bit scared with Austin Matthews. We hope that he is okay and he does not miss any time, as the Toronto Maple Leafs do not need to have any injuries occur, and they can definitely not afford any injuries occur this late in the season. We hope that Austin is okay, and we hope the Maple Leafs can continue rolling, leading on to the weekend, where they have a big matchup against the Boston Bruins at home, and that's going to be a game that's going to be heavily looked at and with some serious playoff implications. And how about Frederik Andersen? Big shutout against the Florida Panthers. He is just looking absolutely fantastic. Curtis McElhinney played well against Detroit. And with the Toronto Maple Leafs being a team that with the R, where Frederik Andersen had a tough loss on Saturday, however, against the Pittsburgh Penguins, but nonetheless, Andersen has been a major heartbeat and a backbone of that team, and he's been the reason why they've been as well as they are. So that's a Pittsburgh team that was outdueled, was the Toronto Maple Leafs, by the line of Evgeny Malkin. The Leafs went in last week and went 1-1 with a loss against Pittsburgh and a big win, 30 seconds left against Detroit. Detroit, whom played a very hard game. And then now tonight against the New York Islanders, getting a win in a shootout. Going against Boston, need to continue this high and keep getting those wins and getting all the points that they can to try to move up and try to get home ice advantage in the playoffs. Getting first place in the Atlantic might be a little bit of a stretch and a little bit hard, especially with Boston having so many games in hand and Tampa Bay being in the position that they're at. But getting second place potentially might be an option if they can remain hot. And that's why, leading up to the deadline, the Leafs can make the necessary moves without sacrificing too much of their future. They can definitely be a team that can get past the first round and even the second round and make a serious run, which is so exciting to me and sends chills down my spine. Now, for me to predict trades, moving on from the Toronto Maple Leafs, predicting trades going into the deadline, which I'm going to substitute this for the multiple choice segment. I'm not going to dive into specifics of trades, but I'm going to say where certain players are going to be moved and potential players going the other way. 3 trades that I think are going to happen on the National Hockey League trade deadline. And I'm going to jump right into that. And jumping into that, I'm going to go with my first trade. Mike Green has been traded to the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Now again, this is my prediction of my 3 trades. So I'm predicting 3 trades that are going to happen Monday. And as I said before my first trade, I'm going to go with Mike Green going to the Las Vegas Golden Knights, with the Las Vegas Golden Knights sending 2 defensive prospects and a first-round pick to the Detroit Red Wings, as Mike Green will go over to the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Second prediction for a certainty of a trade. Mike Hoffman has been traded from the Ottawa Senators to the San Jose Sharks for a first-round pick and a AHL prospect. I'm going to go that route. That's my second trade. My third trade. Wow. You know what? After really looking everything over on potential trades that are going to happen, I'm going to go with Rick Nash. And with this third prediction, Rick Nash will be getting traded to the Nashville Predators. Now, there's a team that I didn't really bring up, a team that had interest when we were discussing jumping into it because I didn't want to spoil where I thought he was going, as this is apparently the front runner for Rick Nash. Rick Nash to the Nashville Predators for a first-round pick, a third-round pick, and a forward mid-level prospect from the Nashville Predators. The Nashville Predators are going to pay a little bit of a steep price, but they are going to make the run to put them over the top and get that top six forward that they really do covet. And as I mentioned, there's going to be teams like Philadelphia, like San Jose, like New Jersey, like Toronto, and even teams like Boston, even Tampa Bay. There's going to be teams that are going to throw their name in the hat, but Nashville is the front runner. And who's going to be right behind Nashville? Don't kid yourself. Pittsburgh Penguins are going to be right up there as well. But the Nashville Predators are going to be the team that are going to land Rick Nash. So to wrap up my three predictions, got Green going over to the Las Vegas Golden Knights, got Hoffman going over to the San Jose Sharks, and we got Rick Nash going over to the Nashville Predators. Those are my three bold prediction trades. We'll see if I'm right on Monday, but what are your predictions? What are some bold predictions that you want to make that you think that the Toronto Maple Leafs or the entire NHL are going to make? I'm going to leave the floor open to you. We had our Leafs chat. We had our NHL chat here. I'm going to leave the floor open to you with some trades that you think might happen. And if you are excited for the trade deadline, because I'm actually very excited. I think it's going to be one of the best ones that we've had in recent years in terms of moves and excitement. Now, will it be as exciting as we make it out to be in terms of trades that have happened? I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of trades that don't happen that we think are going to happen. But who knows? The NHL is at a turning point in this season, and there's a lot of buyers and a lot of teams that think they can contend. Let's see if they decide to mortgage their future. Let's see if they decide to move some players out or bring players in to make a run for the ultimate prize and the hardest trophy to win in hockey, the Stanley Cup. That's going to wrap up the show here on February the 22nd here, Thursday at Boston Pizza. It's been yours truly, David McCaig. Been Ryan Solo here tonight at Boston Pizza. It's been a great atmosphere here all night where you're among friends at Boston Pizza. And I want to give a special shout out to Mitch Wilson, who is battling the flu. And he still worked hard here tonight and gave me great service as he always does, as he gave great service here at Boston Pizza, and obviously to Aaron Grisdak at Boston Pizza as well for his hospitality, and to Boston Pizza in general for being home to the Game Sports Show. Been here almost going on 2 months, which has been a great start to the 2018 year, partnering up with Boston Pizza. Special shout out to Scott Nason as well, the board operator here tonight, and also to our additional sponsors. We got Sports Center Bar and Grill, North Shore Sports and Auto, The Salon, Discover the Canvas, and the Superior Pro Shop here in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, along with, in Soo, Michigan, the Wicked Sister and Pingator Cleaners. And just to remind you, the trivia question. Last week's winner, Ange Gervasi, getting the number right, number 13 on the total amount of TVs that are here at Boston Pizza. Don't forget that this week's trivia question is going to be on next week's Monday edition, February the 26th of the Boston Pizza Show, so make sure to be tuned into that for your chance to win a prize. Maybe you can win a large pizza or a great prize like Angela Gervasi did. Congratulations again to Angela Gervasi on winning that prize. But moving on to the agenda changes for the next 2 weeks. To give you a quick reminder, next week we only have one show, February the 26th, Monday here at 8 p.m. at Boston Pizza to wrap up the trade deadline day. No show at the Wicked Sister, and there'll be no show at Sports Center next week. And into the following week, we'll have a show Monday, not the Wicked Sister again. It's going to be canceled just for the 2 weeks, as we'll have a show at Sports Center Bar and Grill, and we'll be back to Boston Pizza again that Thursday, which will be March the 8th. And then going into March the 12th, we'll be back to normal. We'll be back at the Wicked Sister on the 12th, and on Wednesday at Sports Center Bar and Grill, and then Thursday here at Boston Pizza. Next week, for the February 26th edition, we have Brad Cochamillo coming on by here at Boston Pizza, along with Zach Turquato being a guest, and potentially former NHL coach and Hound coach Greg Hartsburg. If not next week, we'll certainly have Greg on the following week, as we have many great plans coming on for the Game Sports Show, and a lot of great things to announce, especially in terms of merchandise, as we plan to launch our merchandise within the next couple weeks. And we are going to have model pictures done here at Boston Pizza on March the 15th for a little bit of marketing PR sake for the Game Sports Show. We get to see yours truly, Scott Nason, and the crew get all dolled up for the modeling side of the radio sports show here on the game, where it's going to be fun, where we also plan to have some big special guests those days, as every guest that we have on the Game Sports Show Monday, Wednesdays, or Thursdays is always big. And we look forward to the future, to what this show brings, and we certainly are glad to have you, the listeners, be along for the ride. You can listen to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.podbean.com. All you got to do is access it through Facebook or access it through the Podbean page. Simply put in your email or simply put in that information through Facebook, and all you need to do is hit follow. Very easy. You just have to click the Podbean page through Facebook or log in. You can download the app on Play Store or the App Store. It's free. Download it on your Wi-Fi. It takes literally, I've counted, 14 seconds. Download the app, click it, search the Game Sports Show, and follow it. 14 seconds. It's done through your mobile phone. Do it on your computer on Facebook. You click through my Facebook page or on the Podbean page. You search the Game Sports Show. Within 20 seconds, you can be following the show, and you'll get notifications for when the show is uploaded. So make sure you follow us. Again, that's the Game Sports Show. .podbean.com. We also have the www.thegamesports show website, where we have it launched. There's still some things that are getting tooled with it, but you can definitely follow all the shows: the Monday show at the Wicked Sister, the Wednesday show at the Sports Center Bar and Grill, and the Thursday show at Boston Pizza. And lastly, the Scott Nason YouTube channel you can follow to get caught up to date all the previous shows, and make sure you keep up to date with current shows as well. I'd like to thank you, the listeners, as well, for staying tuned and putting up with hearing just my voice tonight. As I said, you'll be able to have a special edition show for the trade deadline version of the Boston Pizza Game Sports Show live here at 8 p.m. on the 26th of February, this upcoming Monday. Until then, this is Dave McCaig. This is the Game Sports Show. Sign off. You all have a great night.